MI is really important for health behaviour change. There's lots of health problems involve changing lifestyle factors, and lifestyle factors take a lot of motivation and a lot of effort to change. Diet, exercise, those kind of things. And in the past, the main way that health practitioners have tried to help people change those behaviours is to provide advice and information. But research shows that that kind of approach works for about 5 to 10% of people. The rest are kind of left struggling with trying to find the motivation. They often know what it is they need to do. It's not the issue about information, it's the motivation.
There are two primary areas that I'm interested in with regard to motivational interviewing. One, broadly speaking, is the use of MI to enhance engagement into treatment. And this is across a variety of problem areas. That is, how can we use MI to help people who need treatment be more likely to enter treatment and find treatment for themselves? How can we use MI to help people once they start treatment to actually participate more actively, to attend consistently, to stay with the treatment long enough in order to be able to really benefit from it? And then sort of related to that is I'm very interested in the variety of areas and types of problems and types of groups of people where we can use MI, and so adapting MI from where it originally came from in addictions and health behavior into areas related to mental health care, in areas related to everything as much as the project I'm most interested in right now, which is we're using MI with living organ donors.
And I work in the field of adolescent comorbidity, so that's drug and alcohol and mental health. And I'm lucky enough to still be a clinician, so I work primarily in the clinical field and work with a small team. I guess it's our task to work with young people and their families where essentially the kind of presenting problems relate to drug and alcohol mental health.
One of my favourite areas of work is working with people with persistent pain. People with persistent pain are often perceived, or can be perceived by clinicians as difficult to work with, reluctant to change. You know, they fail to attend appointments and don't want to do the things that they're being asked to do. They've got chronic pain. They don't want to reduce their medication, and they don't want to increase their activity level and their exercise because it hurts. Motivational interviewing fits really well in this area of work because it's about changing clinician attitudes towards working with these people, working at a slower pace perhaps.
So we're starting to look at what helps people from within change, I guess. Over time, I guess what I've seen is a place now where motivational interviewing, motivational approaches, not only is in health, particularly addiction, we're now seeing it across a range of different behavioural disciplines, including, I'll include corrections in there. And I suppose what we're starting to see too is that motivational approaches are being seen not only to engage people into treatment, but also to engage people in conversations that get them to think differently around what they're doing and their attitudes.
Green Prescription is a New Zealand-wide program that supports people to increase their level of activity for the benefit of their health. So it's targeting those people that are inactive, have some motivation to change, and are looking to sort of engage in long-term change in their activity level.
Well, motivational interviewing is particularly suited for brief interventions. For many clients, they don't perceive that gambling is a problem. They often see it as a pastime, an enjoyment, something they keep to that has some downsides to it, but they'll put the downsides will be attributed to not having sufficient money, or it'll be through having an unlucky day, for example. So often the motivation, the brief intervention, is to get people to go and step back and think, well, there might be an alternative way of participating. There might be a connection between what actually happens and the way that they have come to terms with it. For many problem gamblers, there's a lot of ambivalence happening. One other thing that we find very significant with motivational interviewing and problem gambling is that many of our clients will turn up with coexisting problems. So with the coexisting problems, you'll often find that people disconnect very quickly from counselling. We know, for example, the longer we keep people in counselling, the more likelihood they are to have positive outcomes. So in that way, motivational interviewing is particularly suitable for problem gambling.
What I've learned in my research about MI is the importance and value of the clinician that offers the treatment and how inseparable the quality of the therapeutic interaction is from the benefit that is derived from the treatment. And we tend to think about psychosocial treatments as being composed of elements like skills building and knowledge acquisition and so on. But we rarely think about the value and importance of the clinician and the role they play in delivering that treatment. And that's my interest, and that's the focus of my research.
Learning MI has been investigated more recently. Research initially on MI looked at, was it effective? We now know that it's effective across a broad range of behaviours. And researchers then moved to start looking at how is it effective, and more recently, how best to train MI. And this research tells us that you can't really learn it by reading a book, that you really do need to attend a workshop where you get practice and feedback, and even more importantly, beyond the workshop, that you have some sort of ongoing coaching.
I think with regard to teaching motivational interviewing, the accessing your own experience and having to have, I suppose, have the experience of being in an interview where somebody does work with your ambivalence around something and you get to feel a sense of shift, if you like. I think that's one of the crucial things if you can achieve that with people that you're training. So getting people to work on their own personal experience, getting them to work at a more emotional level too. I guess with the people I train, I try to get them in touch with what is it that they feel while they're actually having those sorts of practice sessions. What is shifting internally for them, so they come to understand what they want to be trying to achieve with people they work with.
How people learn MI is different depending on the person, and what we do know is that people mostly don't learn it by just sitting in a workshop. And in a didactic presentation, they might learn about MI, but they don't learn to do it. That it requires practice. And probably the best way to learn MI is to learn a little bit about it and then to go try it with your clients and let your clients shape you into the best practice of MI. So you go to a workshop or you go to a teacher and what you get is a compass. And the compass tells you, okay, this is how you'll know if you're on track. And then you sit down and you practice with your clients, look at your compass and say, am I on track or not? And it's the client that really tells you.